Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will be reviewing my favorite calendar application, Fantastical. You can find Fantastical on the home screen of all of my iOS devices, my iPad and my iPhone. Fantastical is my favorite calendaring application, and it manages all of my calendars on my Mac and iOS devices. The icon of the Fantastical application on this particular home screen is right beneath WhatsApp and sandwiched between 1Password and Evernote on the second row of my applications. I'm going to start the application now and we can take a look at its features. So Fantastical, the beauty of Fantastical is that it can manage any calendar. I have at least 15 calendars. I know that's a lot, but I have at least 15 calendars, at least 5 of which are my personal calendars associated with my Gmail accounts and my iCloud and Outlook accounts. In addition to those 5 calendars, I have calendars which people share with me, calendars for holidays and events and so on that I have in my calendar application. And instead of having a separate application for each of these calendars, I have only one calendar application, which is Fantastical. When you open Fantastical, it opens up to a screen which is referred to as the ticker view. And in the ticker view, you have a white ticker at the top of the application that shows you the days. For example, you have the 12th of July, the 13th of July, and the 14th of July, and so on. So you have 5 days at the top of that ticker, and you can click on any day to quickly shift to the events and appointments you have on that day. In addition to the events on that day, you will see the events of the rest of the days that follow the day you're viewing. So, for example, if you're viewing the 14th of July, you'll see the 14th and the 15th and the 16th and the 17th in this particular screen, if you take a look at the screen underneath the ticker. And the number of days you will see depends on how many events you have per day. Naturally, if a single day has many events, it will take up a lot of screen real estate, and so the rest of the days will not be visible. But you can quickly switch to the days by clicking on the day you want to look at on the ticker. Alternatively, you can scroll by scrolling on the days beneath the ticker. You can scroll that up and down, and then you can take a look at the events. This will, of course, take you away from today, which probably is the day you'd like to look at most often. And if you want to go back to today, all you have to do is touch the top of the application, the red title bar. You touch it, and then you scroll back automatically to today's view. If you would like to see a larger set of days instead of the 5 days, you can view the entire month by pulling down on the ticker. So touch the ticker, pull it down. That will give you a month view, so you can see the entire month. And similarly, you can press on any day. For example, if I want the 31st of July, I can press on that. It will bring up the events on the 31st. Again, if you touch the title bar, it will bring you back to today. If you want to go back to the ticker, you pull down again on the top of the calendar, and it switches back to the ticker view. If you pull down gently, you bring up the search bar, which allows you to search for events. You can search for events by title, by location, and by people invited to the event. I like to search by title. It's the most common way I use my calendar application. For example, if I'd like to search for events related to students, I can go ahead and type students into my search bar, and it will bring up all of the events I've associated with students. Again, as you can see, I've highlighted, it automatically highlights the title section, but you can search by location or invitees. I'm going to cancel my search right now. So this is how you search on Fantastical. You would like to hide the search, gently pull down, gently push up, and the search disappears. So you pull down gently, it appears, push up, it disappears. If you would like to see the entire week, you could do a switch of the orientation of your cell phone. So if you switch the orientation of your cell phone, you get the view of the entire week. If you bring back the orientation, you come back to this view. So this is the user interface of Fantastical. And the beauty of Fantastical is it allows you to enter events using natural language processing. So for example, if I want to set up lunch with my wife, I can easily click on the plus sign on the upper right corner, and it brings up the quick add natural language processing data entry screen where I can write lunch with wife. Maybe, for example, I'd like to schedule it at 7 a.m. this Friday. So I say at 7 p.m. I apologize. A.m. would not be lunch. This Friday. And it is automatically scheduled. If you take a look at the window beneath the text entry, you will see that it is scheduled for 7 p.m. on Friday the 13th. You can also set up recurring events. So for example, if I'd like to have lunch with my wife every Friday, I'd say every week. And that allows me to have this event reoccur every week. And the beauty of natural language processing is you can set up recurring events that start at a certain time and end, for example, in August. For example, I can say until August and August. And what I've done is I've now told Fantastical to stop scheduling this event in August. The natural language processing engine of Fantastical is extremely strong, and you can use it to add any type of event you like. And that is why I really love this application. I'm going to discard this event, and I will now give you a brief overview of the settings. You press the button at the top left corner, the wheel button, and it gets you into your settings. Of course, the first item is calendars, which allows you to set up your calendars, and I have my 15 calendars set up here. The two things I'd like to bring your attention to. The first thing is, you see the section called Update Text Expander Snippets. It allows you to link to an application referred to as Text Expander, or Text Expander, I apologize. And this is my favorite application. It does a huge amount of things by essentially expanding a snippet of text into larger text. I will provide you with a video about the functionality of this application, but it hooks in natively into Fantastical, and it allows me to, for example, say lunch with wife. I can have a snippet, for example, LL, which automatically expands to lunch with wife. So I can enter that event very quickly into my application. So Text Expander is a very good application, and I will show you how to use it in a following video. Another thing I'd like to show you is that you can set up default alerts and default durations for your events. So for example, here I have my default duration set to 1 hour. That means any of my meetings that I schedule are scheduled for 1 hour. I do this because it is a natural duration for meetings. Of course, I can change this from the either from the default, I can choose a different option, or I can change it while entering my event in natural language processing. So I could say meeting from 2 o'clock to 2:30, in which case the duration will be 30 minutes overriding the default. And another setting that I really like is you could set up default alerts. And this is very important, especially for me, because I'm very forgetful and I have a very hectic day. I am the head of the computer engineering department in the Arab Academy, Cairo branch, Sheraton. And essentially my office is a storm of students. Students go in and go out from my office quite often with complaints and issues they'd like me to address. And so I need a reminder to remind me of appointments. And I have set up default alerts for my timed events, which occur, as you can see before you, 1 day before the event, which allows me to plan ahead. For example, if I have a college council meeting, I get a reminder a day before that, so I can prepare all my paperwork and get that paperwork into my office so I can take it into the meeting. I get an alert 1 hour before the meeting, so I can wind down my current work. For example, if I'm working on a research paper, or I'm handling a student complaint, or I'm grading student exams and I get that alert, I wind down my work so that I can smoothly transition from the work I'm currently doing to my appointment. And finally, I'd like to remind myself 15 minutes before the actual event so I can get moving from my office to the appointment. Of course, these are the defaults. You could change the alerts in natural language processing. So, for example, you could say, after you finish typing your event, alert 1 hour before event or alert 2 hours before events, and that allows you to override the defaults set in your Fantastical application. That's it for now. That's how I'm going to end this video. But Fantastical has a lot more features, and one of the most important features is it allows you to automate